Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. How's everyone's blood pressure now? Knicks prevailed, down 11 with about 8 minutes to go. And they're able to come back behind Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. And they now lead the series 3-1. Great to have you with us from our Delta MSG studios. We're here for the next hour. We got a lot of great things to talk about. Bill Pidto, Alan Hahn, Wally Szczerbiak. Alan's popped a Coke button.
I just said, forgive me.
That's on you, kid.
Can't close it.
That's on you.
We all
Sometimes you got to keep your composure.
He's on the team. And you on the team?
He can't button his button.
No button. Come on.
He doesn't fit into his
coat.
coat.
It's the playoffs. I got a little excited.
How about the Knicks and the resilience there, Alan, when it really looked like it?
How about Jalen Brunson?
Right, and Cat, too.
Yes.
You got the two All-Stars won the game in crunch time.
Stars win in the playoffs, right, Wally?
Yeah.
Stars make the plays. And what we have seen in this series so far has been a Knicks team that in the third quarter, it has not been good. We talked about it pregame. But we also have seen a Piston team that just cannot close the deal in the fourth quarter.
I know. Cade Cunningham missed some makeable shots. Tim Hardaway Jr. is a guy you don't want to leave open in the fourth quarter. He is locked in anytime he gets a look. But, boy, did Cat put his imprint on this game.
Yes.
Jalen Brunson, you know, is going to have the ball in his hands. Everyone defers to him. But they ran a really cool play where it was a cross-court pass from Jalen to Karl-Anthony Towns. He drilled a triple when they were down 4, and then he went on to make a huge step back, a huge fadeaway from behind the backboard, a la Larry Bird. Both of those All-Stars stepped up big time. They got 2 wins on the road. That is so hard to do in the playoffs. What a game, what a performance by the Bockers.
End of the first half, and we'll take everybody through the story. The Knicks just basically gave it away. Up 16 points. Detroit closes the half on 11-2 run. And then Wally in the third quarter, it was all Pistons. Somehow the Knicks, like they have always done with this group, they're able to find something. Because they're down 11 with 8 minutes to go. You're thinking the game's over.
They never panic. They're so good in the fourth quarter.
Because they have Jalen Brunson.
Right. When you know that as a team and you know that as players, that's in the other team's head. They know, even though we have a lead, this team is really good down the stretch. And we're not as comfortable down the stretch orchestrating offense, getting good looks, and finishing games. And you could definitely see that come up here. Just the grind that the Knicks played with, going for those loose balls, the last possession, everyone just laying it on the floor, diving for those loose balls. It was just an outstanding team effort, and it says a lot about this team, how good they are on the road. They go into tough environments. That building was crazy, and they don't let it bother them. That's what true professionals do.
They won 2 games in Detroit by a total of 3 points.
This series, think about it, this series has been so far an 8-point differential in these games. But it's all about how you close. It's about how you get it done. And these the final possessions of this game is all about, again, we talked about experience, resiliency, and volleyball, incredible shot making. This man left the game limping off the court, and every Knicks fan was holding their breath. Then he came back on the court. Maybe he went back and got another cape and put it on his back there, Wally, because he looked tremendous when he came back out.
I know, but Tim Hardaway Jr. wouldn't go away. It just hit a big 3. Then he knocks down that 2. This was at the last second of the shot clock over the backboard, nothing but net.
How about this?
This is the one that popped your button right there.
Boom!
Pop! There it goes. Gone. Big shot, Karl-Anthony Towns. Knicks win, shooting 37%. Who said the Knicks can't grind out wins against a physical basketball team? Take that back with you, Detroit basketball going home with a loss.
Is this a sing-along?
He's completely out of tune. But look at the rebounding and points in the paint. Heavily to Detroit, and yet the Knicks win. I don't know, Alan, if there have been many times we've seen the Knicks outboarded that way and outscored in terms of points in the paint, and they're able to win the game.
Well, look at the three-point shooting. Right. The Knicks made 15 threes in this game, and they went ice cold from 3 throughout the middle part of the game. That became a big problem for them. They made them early, then they made them late, and Karl-Anthony Towns is certainly a big part of it. The other story has been another big part of this series. And this is what, if you're JB Bickerstaff, you got to focus on this. He'll probably talk about officiating, but he shouldn't, because this game was a much differently officiated game than Game 3 was. It was more to benefit his team and the way they play. 19 turnovers, the Knicks turned it into 20 points. That is certainly something that's always going to kill you in a playoff series. When you turn the ball over at a high rate like they are, and the Knicks are turning it into points, you're giving possessions away.
Yeah, they couldn't get a good look at the basket the first part of the first half. They were just not running good offense. And we were talking about this as the series goes along. The other team knows exactly what you're going to run.
Yep.
I mean, every play, they've seen it, they know it, they've run through it. So you're not going to be able to fake out guys and trick them on the other side of the floor. So you just have to be strong with the ball. You know guys are going to be right in your face. You know the officials are going to let you play a little more physical and a little bit harder on the defensive end. And you just got to will your way to baskets. And that's exactly what Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns did at the end of this game.
Difference in the fourth quarter. Again, talk about an experienced team. The Knicks only had 1 turnover in the fourth quarter. And that's a huge part of it. Then they forced 4, turned them into 7 points. So, again, you get the swings based on what you do defensively. And the Knicks, I remember hearing this idea that the Knicks this season don't play defense the way they did last year. They're a different team defensively last year. Tom Thibodeau had been pushing his team, trying to make them the top 10 defense again. Their defense, when it matters most in this series, has been a huge difference maker, and it was in the fourth quarter.
Knicks outscored in the third quarter 28-14, and with about 2 minutes to go in that third quarter, we saw Jalen Brunson apparently tweak that right ankle, which caused him to miss 15 games late in the season. You're watching the game. Brunson's limping off. He can barely put any weight on that ankle. And, of course, he goes into the locker room. Allen puts on his cape and comes back with 15 fourth-quarter points. And you look at him go out there, and you're saying, oh, no.
Right.
Because he couldn't put much weight on that at all as he
then
tried to get off.
Back up.
Right, watch. He goes right back down.
It looked like a little leg lock where it just got twisted awkwardly and kind of bent in the wrong direction. And those ankles, when you're recovering them, they're like a hot stove. They're just sore to the touch. And any type of blow like that, it just exacerbates it. But the fact that he came back and played the way he did in the fourth quarter, I think he's going to be okay, which is a very good thing for the Knicks, because if he re-injured it at all like he did the first time, the Knicks season was in trouble. And then he just continues to play great basketball, finding his mate Josh Hart there, who was all over the place in this game. Jalen Brunson, another 30 spot in the playoffs. That's a lot in a row. And 13 for 26, 4 for 7 from the three-point line, 11 assists.
Yeah.
How about the efficiency in a game where his team shot 36%? He shoots 50% from the floor. Excuse me, the Knicks shot 37% from the field as a team. He gets to 50%, makes all the big baskets to get them right to the finish line. And then Karl Anthony Towns in that fourth quarter was huge. These are not tough shots. I thought that was a foul. I was watching that live, and I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Tim Hardaway Jr. can hip check you into the first row, and you can flip it up because you're so good and make the floater from 8 feet, and you can't get it on one?
It's game to game with these officials. Because game 3, they were calling that hip check.
Yeah.
They weren't letting him get away with it. They were calling the screening where you literally push somebody with your hands. They were calling that in game 3. They were not calling that in game 4. It goes again to the Knicks having to play through this stuff.
Right.
And that was something that J.B. Bickerstaff and the Pistons wanted to see. They wanted to test the Knicks and see if they could handle it in a hostile environment for 2 games. They did.
Yep.
Brunson's fourth quarter so far in this series. 12 points fourth quarter game 1, 14 points game 2 fourth quarter, 12 points fourth quarter game 3, fourth quarter this afternoon 15.
Wow.
Now Karl Anthony Towns,
wow.
We all know what happened in game 2.
Yeah.
You call game 3, he was huge down the stretch, and he was huge again today when the game was on the line.
When the game was on the line, when the shots mattered, when the play was kind of breaking up, he found ways to just go one-on-one and make a play. That shot against Duren that we showed earlier, the fadeaway into the corner, you call it Larry Bird shot right against the backboard. If you want, that hand is in his face when he shoots that high arc little lollipop, but perfect touch. He's a great shooter. But the 27-footer that put them up, the game-winning shot,
the step back,
that was a broken play that he just said, well, I'm the best shooter in the gym. I'm just going to knock this down.
5 for 6 from 3, put him up by 1. And then the Knicks, you knew they were going to have to get stops to secure this victory. And I just think they did a good job of fighting off those screens, getting the right matchups, and keeping OG Anunoby and Bridges on Cade Cunningham.
Yes.
And if Cade has to go 1 against 5 when all eyes are on him, and it's either Bridges or Anunoby on him, those guys can make him take tough shots and make him miss. And that's what happened down the stretch. He missed, and the Knicks stars, they came through in the clutch.
Cunningham barely missed to win the game.
Just missed, but I'll tell you what, don't tell me again that Jalen Brunson's not the best player in this series. Because that's what everybody said going into this, that Cade Cunningham was. Don't tell me that again.
All right, when we come back, post-game comments from Knicks coach Tom Thibodeau. The Knicks now up 3-1. Monica McNutt's post-game perspective as well. Knicks win by 1 in Detroit today.
The Knicks post-game show is presented by Audi. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer today.
Welcome back. Another heart-stopping win for the Knicks in Detroit. They win 94-93 and now lead the series 3-1. Game 5 is Tuesday. Pre-game at 7, game at 7:30, and with a win, the Knicks will move on and eliminate Detroit. Monica McNutt helped call the game on the radio on ESPN New York. She now joins us from Detroit. Monica, you had some time to settle down. How about that for an afternoon basketball game?
Listen, I know this is the television broadcast, but Tyler Murray had an epic call at the end. He had a couple epic calls, but the way he punctuates the finish of the ball game, we got to get that to you guys so you can hear it, because he rattles off all of the characteristics that have made this team who they are to this point in the season and allowed them to come back after being down and start the fourth quarter and take a 3-1 lead in this series. Just the energy in here, y'all, you could slice it with a knife. It was fantastic.
That's a great teammate shouting out our play-by-play guy. That's why you're the best. Listen, that performance by Jalen Brunson in the fourth quarter, Monica, when he's limping off the court, when he gets up and goes back down, all that stuff happened right in front of you on the court while you're calling the game. In your mind, from all the experience you have with Brunson, are you saying he's coming back, or are you worried about the game at that point? What was going through when you guys were making that call when Brunson's limping off the floor?
Well, it happens right in front of us at the scores table, so it was like under our eyesight, right? But when we got a chance to see it on the replay, I didn't see a twist, and so that gave me hope. It did look awkward, it looked uncomfortable, but I didn't see the twist that we saw that was the initial injury. And so after you get past that, knowing who he is, you're like, all right, I feel good. I feel good that he's going to come back, because it didn't look that nasty. It looked more awkward than anything. And so we're waiting. Then you're waiting, right? And then everybody knows when something happens to Jalen Brunson, next thing you do is wonder if assistant coach Rick Brunson has left the bench, and he didn't. So you had confidence that he would come back and be able to perform. Now, what I didn't anticipate, Hahn, was the way that he would dominate in the fourth quarter. And not just with the 15 points that he scored, but the way that he would settle this entire team, the way that the pace would become methodical and deliberate, and that, in fact, because of that pace, the two crazy shots that Karl-Anthony Towns hits, I think he doesn't hit those if the pace is still moving as fast as we saw through the first 3 quarters. Just fantastic.
Yeah, Monica, how about the job that the Knicks did on Cade Cunningham in the fourth quarter with their matchups, with navigating that pick and roll? I think that was a huge key to winning this game.
I agree. And I think you had to go, at the end of the third quarter, you go, okay, we shot the ball as poorly as we have shot it at any point in this series, and you're still within striking distance. You go, okay, these guys are young, but there are shots that we're capable of making, and they hit a few heaters in the course of that third quarter. They're at home, they're energized. You knew, out of respect, out of playing this team through the regular season and in this series so far, that they were not going to go away. But I thought, to your point in the fourth quarter, OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, and there were still some baskets that Cade hit on Mikal Bridges, but they played sound position defense. They stayed in front. It was not easy. And, of course, the big turnover down the stretch, they were able to stay connected as a team on defense, because I think that's what Cade Cunningham demands of you. Your help guy got to be ready. The guy that has to rotate after the help has to be ready. You have to be on a string as a team, especially because of the type of 3 quarters that he had up until that point. I agree with you, Wally. That's a great call out.
All right, Monica, as always, we appreciate it. Have a safe trip back. We'll talk to you on Tuesday night.
Sounds good.
All right, so the Knicks prevail by 1. The Knicks now lead the series 3-1. Post-game comments now from Knicks coach Tom Thibodeau, as always, presented by Chase.
Questions? Tom, it seemed like an emotional win. You guys were celebrating right after the game. I mean, what was the mood in the locker room, and how cool was it to pull off this victory the way that you did?
You know, like, playoff wins are tough. It's hard to get them. We didn't have much going our way to start the fourth, and dug down and found a way to win in the end. A lot of tough plays, guys stepping up, you know, Cat hitting the big shots, Jalen big shots, you know, Mikal's defense, OG's defense, Josh's hustle plays, the rebounds. We needed everybody, and just find a way to win. and that's the bottom line.
I know we've seen it before, but Jalen goes to the locker room, looks like he can't stand up, and comes back and 15 points in 10 minutes in the fourth quarter. Just kind of, are you immune to it now?
Yeah, I think he changed his shoes.
Tom, the defense on Cunningham down the stretch, you get a stop on him with OG, then McHale forces the turnover, and then another stop on him with OG. Just when you talk about the versatility from the wings on defense, is this kind of what you envision, being able to just switch and stop?
And those guys are so tough-minded, and you need that. So to have the ability, Cunningham's a great player. You need your whole team tied together on that, and you got to try to make them work. And then you got to challenge the shots, and you're going to have to fight through a million screens, and that's part of it. But to have the mental toughness to do that, play after play, it says a lot about both of those guys. And both guys, Schroeder was out there too. You're dealing with him, so you have to be tied together. The bigs, Cat got into the foul trouble that hurt us some. I want to take a look at his drives. He's getting a lot of contact, and they're direct line drives. So I know what the rules say.
Tom, obviously a lot of focus on the fourth, but you guys came out winning all the 50-50 balls, setting the tone defensively. How did you like the way you guys started in that first quarter? And obviously it played out.
Well, I thought we played well in the first half. And the thing is, the challenge is you have to play for 48 minutes. And so I thought, our ball pressure was pretty good. We challenged shots well. We rebounded pretty well in the first half, but we have to rebound better. We have to prioritize that. And so, and that's the big thing for us.
How about the strip from Josh down the stretch and the defensive play that he made there?
Yeah, and that's what Josh does. And they're always timely plays, whether it's an offensive rebound, a defensive rebound in traffic, a hustle play where he just comes up with a loose ball, a strip. He's everywhere, and you need that mindset. And when things weren't going our way, everyone was they said, "Let's keep fighting," and you win with your toughness and your discipline. And so you got to bring that for an entire game.
Tom, there were a lot of big shots down the stretch, but can you talk about Cat's three-pointer and just like he goes back like he's going in, then it's so confident, the confidence it needs to take the shot.
He has tremendous confidence, and he has amazing touch, and he shoots the ball like a guard, and he's got unlimited range, and he can score off the dribble. He can score back to the basket. He can score a lot of different ways. And when he's moving around, that's usually when he's hardest to guard. And so we have to continue to search him out, and he's got to continue to move.
Tom, game 3, you guys take everything Detroit throws at you. You win the game. Same thing this afternoon. What does that tell you as a head coach about your group?
Yeah, I think, mental toughness to me is having the belief that you could always do things better. And I know we have a mentally tough team, and we understand it's a big part of winning. But I think when you look at the playoffs, oftentimes you see there's a lot of one-possession games, and you don't know which one is going to be the difference. That's why every possession does matter, and that's why you should fight to win every possession. And so you get a couple stops in a row, you get a hustle play, and the next thing you're on a run. But you have to have the belief and the toughness. But I also think that the discipline has to be a priority for everybody. So I think when you're disciplined, it helps to get past distractions. And that's important for us.
Tom, 2 questions on Jalen, if I could. Nice line about the sneakers, but seriously, as he's limping off the court, do you think
I'm just fighting sarcasm with sarcasm.
Do you think in your mind we might have to do this without him, or?
Pardon?
No, do you think to yourself you might have to do this without him? And when he comes back, is it past the point?
I think you have to have that belief in your team, and you never want to see any of your players get injured, and so but things happen in a game. It could be an injury, it could be foul trouble. There could be, an illness, and the next thing you know, that next guy has to get in there and get the job done. And so I think we all have to have the belief in each other. And so you have to trust each other, and you have to work together. And it's not about the individual, it's about the group. So if Jalen goes out, and we've already been through that, where he missed an extended amount of time, and we knew you're not replacing Jalen individually. You have to do it collectively. So you just do it with your defense, your rebounding, sharing the ball, and taking care of the ball. So if we do that, we have a chance to win against anybody.
Does anything he does, especially the stuff after he came back, surprise you anymore?
No, I think, and you guys have been around long enough to know, it's just he's got a great belief, and it comes from his preparation. And in the end, he's always going to figure out, okay, I can get to this, and he's got a variety of things that he can get to. And, the beauty of his game is if you watch it every night and you see, how special it is. But if you were in the gym, all the things that you see in the game, those are the exact things that he works on. And before practice, after practice, comes back at night. So when he gets into the game, his mind is already his body's already trained for it, right? And he does it at a game like speed, so he doesn't have to adjust, and that's what makes him special.
With Josh, beyond his hustle plays, he hit 3 threes today. How important is that to combat some of the stuff that the Pistons are doing on?
Yeah, I think it's huge. He's worked a lot on his shooting. You're open, shoot it. You're guarded, go to the next action, make a play. But he can play well, a lot of different ways. So, and nobody shoots the ball great for 82 games. So if you're not shooting great, do something else to help the team win. And there's a lot of things that you can do to help the team win.
Tom, Mikal tonight did a really good job on the possessions that he had Cade, and he had some nice plays off the ball, some good contests at the rim. What do you feel like is working so well for him defensively right now that's kind of allowing him to affect so many plays?
I think for the entire season, I think it's been a steady climb for him. And he's always had that ability. He's always been a very good defensive player. He's got great length, anticipation, knows how to challenge a shot, can be very disruptive, can get to a second and third effort. And when you have long wings like that, I think it makes your defense a lot better. I think that's what's causing, a lot of turnovers. Is if the ball pressure is strong, right? Then we can get up into the passing lanes, and then we can get some turnovers and get into the open floor and get some easy baskets, and that'll fuel your offense.
Obviously, it's super common for throughout a playoff series, teams get to know each other better, players get to know each other better. Do you find that there are certain players who react to that to an even more extreme degree, like they start to do things instinctually in a game 4, a game 5, a game 6?
Well, I think that's the nature, of the playoffs, because you're playing, unlike college where it's one game and either you move on or you go home and there's a new opponent. NBA playoffs, you're playing the same opponent. Could be 7 times, right? And so that's why you have to have your fundamentals down, right? And that's what makes Jalen so good. He's mastered the fundamentals. So if you take something away, his counter is already ingrained in him. And so having the ability to think on your feet, to read the floor, to read the defense, that's playoff basketball. Yep.
It seems like Brunson is able to do consistently whatever he wants when these games are on the line. I know he just needs to create a small smidgen of space, but Wally, it doesn't seem like it matters who's guarding him.
He's an outstanding one-on-one player. He really is. I mean, he just knows how to read his defender. It can be a tall defender. It can be a shorter defender. He has a great one-on-one game. The key for the Knicks is to give him the space to operate so those double teams and the help doesn't come over and bother him. Because when he can gauge his guy that's guarding him, he can get a good shot up whenever he wants, even when there's pressure defense and even when it's a big moment in the fourth quarter. The greatest closers, most of them are guards or guys that handle the ball and can do it facing the basket. Mm-hmm. It's tough to be a great closer when you have your back to the basket because you can get really physical and you can bring a double team very easily. But when you're facing the basket, it's tough to stop those guys when they have that kind of game.
I think he just turns it up too. His intensity, his speed, everything when he drives to the basket. There's a physicality he brings that is a little bit of a higher level than the rest of the game. There's just something special about him that is really going into this season was something that some people questioned. The only thing left to question is, in a series, I remember Iman Shumpert saying it, and it was controversial. In a series, are you afraid of him? You're damn right you're afraid of him now.
I mean, he's had at least 30 points in each of these games.
Crazy.
Talked about what he's doing in the fourth quarter. This may be even better than last year in terms of what he's doing in crunch time. Amazing. J.B. Bickerstaff, not happy with the officiating in the final seconds. Get his comments coming up. Welcome back, everyone. So the Knicks can polish off the Pistons. Game 5 Tuesday night. Pregame at 7, game at 7:30. Hour-long postgame after the game. Knicks win by 1. Here's Detroit coach J.B. Bickerstaff.
Coming back down from 16 points, can you just take us through what was clicking for you guys in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, I think it started, at the end of that second quarter. That group was playing with great energy. They were scrappy. They played with great quickness and speed. But the effort kicked up because it was a struggle early for us to kind of find it. But, we found a way to just keep it within 12, and then we were able to go on that little run to end the quarter. And I think that gave us some life going into the second half and some belief that we could get it done.
JB, to have last game end the way it did, and then this game, a substantial lead on your guys' end, and then it come down to the final seconds. In your experience, how do you coach through that and improve from there?
I mean, again, we are learning our way through, every challenge that's in front of us. And I think our guys have done a great job of learning from one moment to the next. Obviously there's some things where I can help our guys more down the stretch and I can be better, and I will be. But just understanding where our shots are coming from, who's getting those shots, the spacing on the floor, and those types of things. But, again, it's my responsibility to help these guys because they want to learn and they want to get better, and that's what I'm here for.
Coach, despite the disappointing loss, that was easily one of the most electric atmospheres that this building has ever experienced. How much of a boost did the crowd give you guys today?
I mean, it was awesome. I think both games have been phenomenal. It's one of the best environments that I've ever been in a home court situation for sure. And our guys feed off that. Like, our guys care about, what the fans think about them and how they feel about them, and they play for them. And that's when you've got something special. And I'm hoping that, again, the longer we're together, that this continues to build. And this is the way it is every night, regular season or playoffs.
JB, did you like the shot Cade got at the end with 8 seconds, whatever, and then the ensuing shot where there was no call? What did you think of that?
I mean, Cade got his shot. He got to his spot, and he got to his shot, and and had the shot that he liked and that we all like. And I trust Cade to take that shot, 100 times in a row. And again, you go back and look at the film. The guy leaves his feet. There's contact on Tim Hardaway's jump shot. I don't know any other way around it. There's contact on his jump shot. The guy leaves his feet. He's at Timmy's mercy. And I repeat, there's contact on his jump shot.
All right, so final seconds, down 1, Cade Cunningham, around and out, heartbreak. And it comes out to Tim Hardaway Jr., Wally Allen. Take us through. J.B. Bickerstaff thinks there should have been a foul called.
Yeah, again, there's a scramble for the rebound. The Knicks are diving on the floor. Here's a good look. I mean, how he misses that is a shock. But watch the battle for the ball on the ground. It rolls out. Hardaway Jr., of all people. Now watch his right leg.
Did Hart foul him?
Hart
that was a little bit of contact on the hip.
Hart is sideways.
That's a great angle from down there.
And the right leg is the area of concern.
But you've been talking about hips the whole entire series, Alan. You got to be honest. There was some hip-to-hip contact.
But in this
I didn't
game,
see it from the upper angle.
Love to see it again if we could.
I mean, the foot did kick out, but that wasn't where the contact happened. The contact happened
on the hip,
right on the hip to hip. And a shooter, when you're going up to shoot like that, that's an interesting. That's an interesting.
Let's see it again.
Right there.
What a great angle. Again, the hip.
He got fouled.
He's getting bumped as he goes up.
He did get fouled.
Yeah. He gets bumped.
You don't notice that in real time when you're watching.
You don't notice it from the upper angle because you look like Josh Hart. He does a good job contesting. You look like he gets sideways and avoids it. Doesn't foul
it's
him
up here.
top.
He gets hit. No, I thought
he got hit right here on the left hip. I think it's on the side here. And he kicked his leg out a little bit, but he was going up straight to shoot. And sometimes Hardaway was trying to draw the contact and didn't focus on shooting it correctly.
Well, that's the only question. Did he initiate as he goes up? Does he lean enough for the referees to say, no, you went for that contact? That's up to the officials.
All right, one last look here. This is a different angle
now. Does he lean in as he shoots?
Oh, that's a foul. That's a foul.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a foul, Allen.
Run out of the building with the ball.
Get on the plane. Let's go.
Get out of Detroit. Last 2 minutes.
JB Bickerstaff hasn't been right a
Mine's
lot.
on the 2-minute
He was
report.
right tonight.
Believe me, the L2
All
had
right.
it.
Wally Wall next. Knicks prevail by 1. They're up 3 games to 1. Welcome back. The Knicks beat the Pistons by 1. That means if they win Game 5 Tuesday night, they win the series. Pre-game at 7, game at 7:30, and an hour-long post-game show after the contest. Over now to the Wally Wall with Allen and Wally, guys.
Well, we could do about 10 plays at the end of this game.
Yes.
We could be here all night, but we only have 2 to show you, but we'll show you 2 big ones. Karl-Anthony Towns hit 2 huge threes in the fourth quarter. The game winner, of course, was one that was special from 27 feet. But Wally, you love this one because this is about trust.
Yeah, this is about trust. This is outstanding offense. You're down 4, under 3 minutes to go, hostile environment. Jalen Brunson, cool, calm, and collected, gets the switch. Now, freeze it right there. Keep an eye on Jalen Duren. He's trying to figure out and communicate with Tobias Harris what's going on and who's guarding who. So Karl-Anthony Towns gets himself a little bit of a passing angle, and watch how Jalen Brunson makes this pass when Jalen Duren loses sight of Karl-Anthony Towns. Looks away, kind of just gets distracted by Josh Hart for a second. Ball's in the air. He is toast right here. He is not getting out to contest Karl-Anthony Towns. And you talk about just drilling this 3. I mean, that thing didn't even come close to touching the rim. And that's great offense with using the decoy. Jalen Brunson dominating, scoring every possession in the fourth quarter. Now he uses himself as a decoy to set up the defense and find Karl-Anthony Towns with a great cross-court pass that leads to a big 3 and cuts the lead to 1.
Towns and Brunson combined outscored the Pistons in the fourth quarter. The 2 of them together, the 2 stars, outscored the other team all by themselves. But there was defense. As Town hit that second 3 that put the Knicks up by 1, there was still under 40 seconds to go. You had to get 1 stop, probably 2, but this was big and great help from Josh Hart.
Yeah, and really good job of the Knicks just figuring out all the commotion, all the screening to get Cade Cunningham open. Schroeder's in there trying to set these little screens and flop all the time. Here's OG on Cade. I like that switch with Bridges. That's fine. Switch there, and look at where OG is. He's continuing to play the gaps, and so is Josh Hart. This is called playing the gaps. So I said this earlier on. Cade Cunningham had 5 sets of eyes looking at him in the fourth quarter, and that's really hard to score against a good elite defender one-on-one with everyone in the gaps. So what does Josh Hart do? There's a good job of forcing him to spin once, because now Josh Hart has an angle to come in here and get the deflection. Now Josh has to be careful because there's a 3-point shooter that's capable over here. So if he's going to go for this steal, he better get it. And he does. He gets his hands on the ball, and he gets in there, and that's hard for Cade Cunningham to deal with, everyone eyeballing him and everyone in the gaps, because he really beat Bridges on that possession, and he had the angle, but then the defense is so close in help position because they couldn't get any pick and rolls to help him out offensively that's why he turned the ball over so much, because he couldn't get anything rhythmic-wise for his offense.
Off his leg, out of bounds. That's his 3rd turnover of the fourth quarter. He had 7 turnovers in this game. That's been a weakness, an Achilles heel for Cade Cunningham. 6 turnovers a game so far in this series, Bill.
And he shot only 2 of 7 from the floor in the fourth quarter. Josh Hart, 14 and 10, and a 3-ball there. His post-game reaction is coming up after this. Welcome back, everyone. The Knicks can eliminate the Pistons on Tuesday night. Game 5, pregame at 7, game at 7:30. Josh Hart, double-double, 14 and 10. Here he is now in the post-game locker room.
Yeah, first half, I think we played great. Played with great pace. We got stops defensively. We were hooping, and then came out stagnant. It's the second game in a row that we came out in the third quarter stagnant, playing too slow, not getting stopped. So we got to learn from it. Third quarter of the last couple of games have been inexcusable, but we'll take the win, and now we got another one on Tuesday we got to focus on.
Josh, how do you explain, though, you guys just battling all the environment and just coming back here in the fourth quarter?
It's just the toughness, man. Everyone just, talks about this team. We don't have the physicality. We don't do this. We don't do that. We don't, but we tune that out. And, at one point I think we were down 10, in that fourth quarter, and we just got stops. Got, our guys, JB, Cat, knocked down shots. But we just got stops. Kel was active, OG was active. JB, it was a full team effort.
Carl's shot making just late. What did he show you?
Yeah, I mean that's Cat. You guys cover the NBA all the time. You first three quarters, you go out there and you hoop and you get guys involved, and in that fourth quarter, your guys, they go win you the game, and that's what they did.
Jalen went down.
As you're midair contesting Hardaway on that last play.
It was going way too fast for me to think about anything midair. I was just thinking, jump and try to contest it.
Jalen goes down, leaves the game, comes back, 15 points.
15 points after he came back? Well, I mean, maybe he won't go out, to start. So.
Brunson 15 in the fourth quarter. The Knicks can eliminate Detroit in Game 5 with a win Tuesday night. Pregame at 7, game at 7:30. Mikal Bridges in the Knicks' one-point win had 8 points. Serious now after the game.
Just grit. There's a lot of grit. A lot of things weren't going our way. Shots weren't falling. Just find a way to win. That's the most important thing.
You just talk about the momentum, how it came, went, and then you had to fight back to get back.
Yeah, man. We was up. Then they came back, finished the second half, or first half well, and then came out in that third quarter. But, even when you overact, they cut it down, and then we look up, we're down like 7. But the thing is, it's only 7. It's not that many points. It's just take a breath and just be ready to come back out there.
Your team defense tonight?
Yeah, really well, man. We just playing off one another, and just trying to win, trying to make the right play, trying to get a stop so we can win the game.
Because you hit those 2 threes, especially the first one. I think you were down 11. It was away from the corner.
Yeah.
You weren't having a great offensive game. How big were those 2 threes to kind of get you guys back in it?
Yeah, man. I think it goes to my teammates, man. Just keep me locked in. I know I'm fine, and I know it's going to come, but they just kept telling me just keep shooting it. So they keep giving me confidence to go out there, and yeah, man, just trying to be aggressive, trying to make the right play, make the shot.
Back now from the corner 3, presented by Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. So, Wally, Mikal Bridges only 3 of 12. Mm-hmm. He scores 8. Anunoby scores only 8. And this was after each of these guys went for at least 20 in the last game.
Well, he made 2 heroic shots down the stretch. Falling out of bounds, fadeaways when the Knicks couldn't find a way to score a bucket, let alone get a decent shot at the basket. He made 2 really tough shots that kind of kept the Knicks just close enough until Jalen Brunson got back in the game and kind of just took over in that fourth quarter along with Karl Anthony Towns. So it doesn't matter what that box score says. You guys, we'll all break it down. All that matters is a 94-93 win. I don't care how many shots the Knicks missed. I don't care how many rebounds they got out-rebounded by. That stuff is correctable. The bottom line is they found a way to get the win, and that's exactly what Mikal Bridges said.
Down 11, he makes the 3.
Yeah.
That's one that it's okay. You feel better about that.
Impossible shot, too.
Yeah, crazy shot. And then he makes the other 3 that he made in this game with 6 minutes to go to cut it to 3. And that's when you say, okay. Like, you have to feel like a veteran team on the road against a young team.
Right.
That's that moment where you think, like, okay, now we're good.
They're starting to
We're
sweat.
right here. Yes. So he did that. He also played 43 minutes and 32 seconds of basketball today. In this game, this physical game, chasing around one of the best young players in the sport. So I'm with you. Guys like him, you can't look at his shooting when he's doing a lot of that work, just like OG Anunoby. Fighting through big, strong screens, chasing after a player who's a 32 or 33 usage percentage guy who's going to have the ball in his hands a ton. That's a lot of work for a night.
All right, guys, so Jalen Brunson, 15 points in the fourth quarter. Karl Anthony Towns had 8 points in the fourth quarter, 23 combined points. Alan mentioned they outscored Detroit by themselves, 23-22. As you see there on the screen, post-game comments now from Brunson and Cat, each at the podium.
It's different. I don't want to say it's sweeter, but it's definitely different. And just happy we came away with a win, and honestly, it doesn't really matter to me as long as I got my teammates got my back, coaching staff has my back, and wouldn't want it any other way.
I guess for both of you, the pool report just came out, and the refs now said should have called a foul on Josh. Just kind of what you saw on that last play and reaction, and are you sweating it there as that ball's in the air?
I mean, I don't even know what to say to that. Simple as that.
Okay.
What you want me to say?
Your view of it?
View of what?
That last play.
Going back to Madison Square Garden, happy we got a win. You like that answer? Is that good?
Jalen, Mikal wasn't necessarily making his jumpers tonight, but especially in that first half, he was really good on Cade. He had a lot of possessions off the ball where he was really good as a helper and contesting at the rim. When he's going well like that, I mean, you've just spent so much of your life playing ball with him. When he's going well like that, what do you notice is clicking for him when he's working so well both on and off the ball?
Yeah, he's able to be disruptive. He's able to make plays. It's just who he is. He has that ability, and since I can remember back in our Villanova days, we try not to let our offense dictate how hard we're playing, and so he brought that over today, and he was very effective. But I mean, we have the utmost confidence in him, regardless of what's going on throughout the game. So, like I said, people have my back, we have their back, and that's how we want it.
Two quick ones for me, one for each of you, starting with Jalen. Down the stretch, first OG gets a stop. Cade was in rhythm, and then crunch time comes. OG gets a stop. Mikal forces a turnover. Then OG gets another stop. That's kind of the ball game right there. Just how have you seen their defensive chemistry between OG and Mikal develop to what it is now over the season?
Yeah, they've been great. They've been great all year, regardless of what people say or think. It's tough to guard people in this league. I mean, this league is clearly offensively driven, and it's tough to stop players one-on-one. But when you have two guys like that who just go out there and play hard every possession, and I mean, I like our chances. It's just they've been doing that since I've known them, since I've seen them play, and I'm just happy they're on my team.
Alan, game 3, Cade Cunningham 10 of 25, and this one 11 of 23. Been doing a good job on them.
It's been good defense so far, but you got one more game to go.
All right, we'll see you Tuesday night. Game 5, Knicks win, the series is over. Pre-game at 7, game at 7:30. And also stream our coverage on MSG Plus now on the Gotham Sports app. Want more than just a post-game show? Link your eligible TV subscription to stream Knicks games free or subscribe today in the Gotham Sports app. Just go to gothamsports.tv to learn more.